there. So I'm going to talk about how having some grumpy skepticism and combining it with a little enthusiasm can be a really productive partnership, especially when you're working towards something new. And for me, that something new was social media. Ooh. And because social media was something that those people did, those people probably being most of you, but certainly not me, and certainly not the people that I hang out with. And so it just made me feel tired and overwhelmed to think of it. That's my little puppy when he was 4 weeks old. I know. So then I was reading the one blog that I was reading by Penelope Trunk, and she said people who don't read blogs should just say instead, I stay away from blogs so I can shield myself from alternative opinions to mainstream media. Yeah, and you wouldn't want to be that person, right? And it was like I got kicked in the stomach, because no, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be obsolete just yet, right? So I figured I needed to get some more information. And it's coming. There we go. Because knowledge chases away the skepticism born of ignorance. So I started talking to really smart people who knew something about this. That's my friend Ron. He spent like 3 hours in a coffee shop explaining WordPress to me one day. Forget about the well-intentioned people but who don't know what they're talking about. Read some stuff. I actually didn't read that book, but I read other books and magazines and all sorts of things. I didn't understand most of what they were talking about, but I did start getting little slivers that helped me out. The other thing that was really good was going to workshops and brown bags and panel discussions, because then you get to interact and actually meet people who know a little more about this. Still not really understanding a lot of what they're talking about. But I did go to one particularly interesting panel discussion at the Leeds School of Business. And I was really excited about it until I heard Gwen Bell say, someone asked her, is the traditional resume dead? And she said, if you can't tell me in 140 characters or less why you're so awesome, I'm not interested. And she used the word awesome a lot. But my biggest takeaway on that whole thing was, oh my God, if I ever need heart surgery, I sure hope my cardiologist has the attention span longer than 140 characters. So then I was kind of like, feeling kind of grumpy as well as feeling a little enthusiastic about this, but mainly kind of annoyed and overwhelmed. I mean, after all, like 140 characters, I mean, where's this thing going? But the spark was lit, and I really was yearning to be persuaded. So I was talking to all sorts of people, waiting for somebody to tell me why I should do this. Because on one hand, I was feeling really grumpy about all the learning that I was going to have to do in this technology stuff. And it was going to take a ton of time, and I don't have a lot of time. And quite frankly, I'm not going to look good. There's a lot of ways I can stick my foot in my mouth. But wisdom comes in the strangest places. And this came in the bottom of a hurricane glass at my friend Eric's Super Bowl party. And it wasn't so much the rum as it was Eric's firecracker enthusiasm, and by the end of the evening I was promising that I was going to have a blog up in 2 weeks, and I knew he'd hold me accountable because he lives across the street. So I knew I had to harness this creative tension and paradox, and the grumpy part was dying to know, how could this be worth my time, energy, money, resources, frustration? This unsubstantiated awesomeness is just not enough for me. So I kind of checked in and said, okay, so why am I even still having this conversation with myself? What am I so enthusiastic about? And for me, I want to do more writing. I want a bigger, more diverse audience, community, connection, become a subject matter expert. And you know what? That was enough. Because my blog was up, and within 2 weeks, I had some comment on a post from a guy in India, and he wasn't a spammer. I did get plenty of those later. So it made it worthwhile, all the weeks of setup, the intuitive lie about how this works. So what I figured out is just because something seems like a paradox, it doesn't have to be conflict or standstill. Grumpy means you ask good questions. Enthusiasm gives you exciting goals. And in the end, you get some great results. So 3 key lessons about grumpy enthusiasm. First, being grumpy, asking questions. It gives you some important discernment, which I think we're sorely lacking lately, right? How did you expect those gains and not ask questions? Second, having that kind of tension between the 2 different points and humor, it gives you a little perseverance. It keeps you going. So when you have to stand up in front of Ignite Boulder and do something like this, you just do your best and go for it. And then the second thing is deep commitment and grounding. Because once you've listened to that gut feel that's asking you those crazy questions, if you're not ignoring them and you're actually paying attention, you really understand what the enthusiasm's about, and you can take the risk that you need to move forward. So now, that's Dougal, he's a little older now. So now I feel really good about the social media chase, and I'm ready to play ball.